In the movies that are part of this unit, then they use the terms radioactivity and radiation. So we want to look at this a little bit. We want to look at the term radiation. We want to take a quick glance at the electromagnetic spectrum and give us a chance to mention Marie Curie. Now, with radioactivity and radiation, radioactivity is what we're talking about when we're talking about nuclear chemistry and nuclei that are falling apart. But the word radiation, that just simply means something that's radiating out. So it could be, visible light that radiates out. It could be heat that radiates out. Anything that radiates out. So when something says, this gives off radiation, that doesn't mean necessarily that it's radioactive. Now, we're talking about the electromagnetic spectrum. Then we have, Roy G. Biv. That's the part that we can actually see. Okay, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. But higher than the visible, there are 3 energies, and lower there are 3 energies. So just higher than violet, there's ultraviolet. Okay, just higher than that, there's X-rays. And just higher than that, there's gamma rays. Now, just lower than red is infrared. Okay, just lower than that is microwaves. And lower than that is radio waves. Now, these 3 on the bottom, these really do not enter into our story about radioactivity. In fact, neither does ultraviolet. The 2 that we are really concerned with here are X-rays and gamma rays. X-rays because they were the type of ray that Becquerel was actually looking for when he discovered radioactivity. So that's part of our story, and it's also part of the story because you can turn it on and off. Okay, that is a relatively easy thing to study. Gamma rays, that's the stuff that's actually going to be part of our radioactivity story, because we're going to find out that that's one of the 3 types of things that come out of Becquerel rays. The Becquerel rays are alphas, betas, and gammas. So it's just a high energy form of light. Now this also comes into Marie Curie, okay, because Marie Curie had kind of a choice. At the time that she was going to figure out what she was going to study, then a lot of people were studying X-rays, and the other ones were studying what they call uranium rays, or the Becquerel rays. And people suggested, well, why don't you go ahead and go for the harder one? Okay, go for the uranium rays, the Becquerel rays, because that would be more people. It's more difficult to do, and you'll get farther with that. And that was very, very true for her. Now, the other part about Marie Curie that I think was really amazing was the fact that she was Polish, and that she went off and studied in France. So she had to do all of her physics in another whole language. And then the other part is that the fact that she was a woman made all the difference in the world. Nowadays, it's hard for us to imagine that it wouldn't just be easy for somebody who was smart to go off and do research. But back then, people who the scientists, they were all men. And when she wanted to try to find even lab space, nobody would give her lab space because women didn't really belong in the lab as far as they were concerned. She ended up doing her research in the back of a barn. So her story is very interesting and definitely worth reading. Follow up on the website. And that's it for this part.